A new round of confrontation has erupted in the Middle East, this time in the coastal area off the Gulf of Oman. A U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, the USS Fitzgerald, suddenly approached Iran's coastline, triggering a tense standoff between Iranian military forces and the main U.S. warship. To guard against the suddenly approaching U.S. warship, Iran immediately dispatched a helicopter to drive it away. However, the U.S. warship not only refused to retreat but also threatened to demand the Iranian helicopter leave immediately, otherwise the U.S. ship might use force to target the helicopter. It is clear that the U.S. military also wanted to test Iran's bottom line. After all, clashes between the U.S. and Iran have never stopped, ranging from the Gulf of Oman to the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. Faced with the U.S. warship's threat, Iran chose to adopt a stance of being willing to go to war. The on-site helicopter also refused to leave and continued to drive away the U.S. warship. The Iranian military then took action and sent a clear signal to the U.S. military. They were fully supporting the helicopter's operation, and the U.S. warship must leave immediately. Under the pressure from the Iranian military, the U.S. destroyer finally left Iran's coastal waters in a disgruntled manner. This marks the first military confrontation between Iran and the United States since U.S. B-2 bomber groups directly participated in the previous Israel-Iran conflict. This time, however, Tehran chose to stand firm against the U.S. and the paper tiger nature of the United States was fully exposed. Ultimately, the U.S. warship fled. Iran defended its security with tough actions. The USS Fitzgerald belongs to the early batch of Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, which boast a powerful firepower configuration. With a full load displacement of over 8,000 tons, it supports the deployment of 96 Cell-41 Malawian Quachas vertical launch systems, capable of carrying a large number of Tomahawk cruise missiles with a range exceeding 1,000 kilometers. Therefore, the attack capability of a single Arleigh Burke-class destroyer alone is sufficient to pose a huge threat to deep targets in Iran's hinterland. Moreover, the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer also has strong air defense and anti-ship combat capabilities, which can threaten Iran's air targets and surface vessels. For Iran, even a single Arleigh Burke-class destroyer cannot be taken lightly. After Trump ordered B-2 bomber groups to attack 3 Iranian nuclear facilities last time, he threatened that such an attack might happen again. Not long ago, Trump mentioned Iranian nuclear facilities again, continuing to insist that these facilities had been completely destroyed and would take years to rebuild. Therefore, he suggested that Iran might as well find 3 other locations to build new facilities. However, U.S. media believe that the damage to Iran's 3 nuclear facilities is not that severe, and it would not be difficult to restore them. Trump's statement seems to imply that Iran should not make things difficult for him. Of course, it cannot be ruled out that this is also a veiled warning. If Iran insists on developing these 3 nuclear facilities, the U.S. military may take action again. Thus, for Iran, the current situation still requires no relaxation of vigilance. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi has stated that Tehran agrees with Washington's stance that Iran should not possess nuclear weapons, but he emphasized that Iran's uranium enrichment activities will continue within the framework of international law. Obviously, this is also one of the differences between the United States and Iran. Raisi also warned Israel not to attack Iran again, otherwise Iran will strike Israel without mercy. Media reports indicate that Israeli Defense Minister Katz publicly stated at a situation assessment meeting that the Israeli military has already dealt with most military operation targets, and the main battlefields now only remain in Gaza and Yemen. But he threatened that if Israel deems it necessary, it may launch military operations to attack Iran again. Therefore, Iran is facing threats not only from the United States but also from Israel. Compared with the United States, the reckless Israel is more likely to continue taking action against Iran. However, if Israel takes the first shot, the United States may intervene. The current U.S. Israel-Iran tripartite game, although the military operation phase has ended, is still fraught with crises and huge uncertainties.